Welcome to this week's installment of Reading with Robin, your number one destination since 2002 for insightful author interviews and discussions on everything literary. And with no further introduction, your host, Robin Call.
I've been looking forward to this conversation since the last time Peter Mehlman and I spoke. The last time it was about his novel, It Won't Always Be This Great, or It Won't Always Be This Great, or It Won't Always Be This Great. I remember we talked about the way the title came out many times. And I feel like I have been nudging him ever since I found out he had a book coming out called #Me As Well. Or do we say Me As Well? But it's #Me As Well.
I guess it's #Me As Well. I haven't really, I kind of keep jumping back and forth between the two. I don't know.
Well, it's so clever. So, I feel like just saying Me As Well doesn't do it as much justice as this awesome artwork here and #Me As Well. Peter will always be known for penning such standards as Yada Yada, which you co-opt in your book here, Double Dipping Spongeworthy, and during his 8-year writer-producer run on Seinfeld. Also, you were on staff at the Washington Post, Sports Beat with Howard Cosell, as well as writing for GQ, Esquire, the Los Angeles Times, and New York Times. So lots of sports stuff. This book is just awesome. It's hilarious, and I'm thrilled to have you back on the show. Welcome back, Peter.
Thanks so much.
Am I the biggest nudge on Facebook ever? I feel like I'm such a pest.
You got some competition, don't worry.
Do I? Well, I remember when we spoke last, you were talking about a book, and then at whatever point, and you can find Peter on Facebook, on Twitter, if you want to send messages, and at whatever point you wrote about this book, I just was so excited, and I know I can just be so dogged because I didn't want to miss anything, and thrilled to get this book, and it is just hilarious, and I read it in your voice, so it's even funnier.
Yeah. You could do the audiobook.
You want me to? No. Did you do an audio? Don't be promising things that you're not going to fulfill, because I will do it. You have no idea. I just think this book is so clever. And what was where did it start for you? What was the nugget?
It's an interesting thing. It started when I was reading an obituary for Philip Roth.
Oh.
And I was reading about, the time in his life that was consumed by Portnoy's complaint. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, the amount of obsession in that book, about his mother and, and everything.
Yes.
Thinking about what is it that I could go on that much of a rant about? And all I could really come up with was sports. Mm-hmm. And I started out just making it about a sports writer, and somehow this Me Too angle came about. And the funny thing is, the main character, Pulitzer Prize-winning sports writer for the Washington Post, makes one slightly questionably off
thing. Yeah, not so bad.
Or a joke.
Yeah.
Which, everything. The amazing thing about that is that I thought of that joke 20 years ago when I was doing a TV show called It's Like You Know.
Oh, that's
I was
so
on
funny.
ABC. I thought of this joke, and I was, watching ESPN and thinking about how these guys feel so much pressure to be funny. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, what would happen if they go a little bit over the line? So I heard about a very soft NBA player. That's a player who doesn't really like physical contact. Mm-hmm. They refer to him as soft, and they'll kind of look down upon. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, what if one of these, hyper-witty anchormen for Sports Center said that this guy is injured and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks because due to a hysterectomy.
So you thought of that 20 years ago, and then you were able to use it.
Well, I thought of it, and I couldn't use that for my show, but at the same time, Aaron Sorkin had a show called Sports Night,
mm-hmm.
on ABC. So I called his director, who I knew, Tommy Schlamme, and said, hey, I got a funny idea for your show. And he was like, don't you have your own show to work on?
Well, right.
I said, yeah, but, I had this funny thought, and I can't use it in my show. We're on the same network. So I figured,
so kind of you, yeah.
So I gave him the idea.
Uh-huh.
And the funny upshot of it is I'm at some kind of ABC function a few weeks later, and Aaron Sorkin comes up to me and says, can I have a word with you? And, I was, oh, my God, he's offended that I gave an idea for his show. He says, I just wanted to tell you that you sending over that idea was so damn classy. It was unbelievable. You are such a class act. And I said, hey, thanks, Aaron, but, you got to work on your introductions, You scared the hell out of me.
It's right. It's like when you get a text that says, call me, we're always like, just say everything's fine, call me, right?
It was like, need to talk.
I need to talk.
In a relationship,
Exactly. You're like 2 years old waiting to get scolded. We got to talk. That's very funny.
So anyway, Aaron's show and my show were canceled right around the same time, and he never got to use it. And somehow when I started writing this book with sports, all of a sudden that line came back to me, and I was thinking, this could, connect me into this whole Me Too sensation that's, kind of swept the world. And, that's how the book went from being all about sports to being, 35% about sports and 65% about what's going on in the world now.
I love it. And you dedicate the book to Arthur Ashe, Howard Cosell, Tony Kornheiser, Philip Roth, John Updike, and mostly Rose and James Mehlman, which I loved. And I got this, I know enough about sports to get all of that. It's so timely and funny and clever. And, it's rare to sit down with a novel and be just laughing out loud and having people in the house say, okay, what was the line? We have a rule about sort of not ruining books for people, but I'm like, wait, you just got to hear this one. Or you just got to hear this one. And it's such a treat, and it's me as well. And I love that you had that for all those years. And Arnie Pepper, our hero in the book, is always jotting things down. So, of course, I have to ask at all times, and he's going through something that's, difficult. He's thrust into the limelight with this one little joke that really during, at other times in history would, just be brushed over, but because somebody catches it and it goes viral, that's the story. But do you always think about okay, this is a funny one, I got to, where am I going to put this?
Well, I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I always write it down. Mm-hmm. And I have this policy of always using it on, if I can use it on what I'm writing at this very moment, I will use it. Mm-hmm. Because, the whole idea of saving it for later or saving it for something else, I realize it's almost arrogant to think that you're actually going to come up with something else.
So whatever it is, put it all in there at the time with whatever you're working on.
Right away.
And I think it's so hopeful to think there'll be another time, and you might be able. You had that one in your head for 20 years, so that's pretty amazing.
A new joke is or a new thought or a new line is buying a new item of clothing, and you just want to get it. Yeah. Get it right in the rotation immediately,
as opposed to leaving the tags on it and saving it for good or waiting for something.
Yeah, or, I'll wear this in a month. No, right now.
But what if it doesn't fit right now? What if you just have to lose 5 pounds and then you want to wear it? Then what do you do?
Well, fortunately, things have gotten so easy to return these days.
True. That's true.
That's one of the few improvements in the world now. It's really easy to return things.
It really is, and there aren't. I love that. I love the whole idea of starting this though with the Philip Roth, and that his books are legendary in this house, and thinking about how you connected that and made that leap. Because to me, reading books, I always love to know where was that spark, and then where did you go from there? And I like that you've broken it down into 35% sports and 65% everything else. And it's just one thing after the other that sort of made me stop and think. And even before we got on the phone, you were talking about looking in, you were reading about what's going on with Weinstein case. And so how does, like, wrapping everything up relevantly and also being mindful of, I don't know, your readers. It's just, I mean, like anybody that doesn't think those jokes are funny, I don't get, but what's happening in the world and how do you sort of do that dance with making a joke and yet seeing how it'll be received and how that follows? There was a question somewhere in there, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the other subject, aside from sports and, the whole sexual politics of our time, I think the other minor or not so minor preoccupation of mine that's in the book is jokes and how dangerous jokes have gotten.
Yeah.
And how, what used to just be automatically funny is, or, even if it was like a slightly edgy form of funny, that, you just have to be so careful about people being offended now, and and you're just saying it's a joke. It's a joke. Relax.
It's not mean-spirited. I think that's the distinction. And I think and in this book, so Arnie Peppers made this joke that has gotten out of hand, and then he's attacked by what is this person, like this person who's like spraying him with like.
Yeah,
is this a real thing?
No.
Okay.
I like to
real.
I definitely like to go towards absurdity.
It seemed like it could have happened, though. I was like, oh my God, do I know? Yes. So
there's a kid who confronts him, who saw the joke and confronts him on the street, and he claims to be part of some kind of group that calls themselves radical masculine feminists. And he sprays something with on Arnie, and he tells him that it's estrogen spray.
Right.
And, he's like a defender of women, and he's about 20 years old. And, and he says that there's a little bit of, a powder that makes you impotent in there or something like that. And, and it's all made up, completely made up. But, you try to, make the world seem even more ridiculous than it really is. But,
and then I think, of like life imitating art. And this could be a how-to guide also, Peter. I mean.
And the funny thing is, I'm so glad to hear that, you asked me if there really is such a thing, because that's great.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, and you're out in L.A., who knows what's possible. Right?
Yeah.
It seemed like something that, these kids could come up with. And also then, and Arnie is a proud and devoted father. And so then this kid, even hearing your daughter, Arnie's daughter, mentioned in the same breath of then that's like a whole other level where the concern is, what does his daughter think? And why hasn't she texted him? Why hasn't she, the worry around why Thea hasn't gotten in touch, So talk about the relationship between Arnie and his daughter, Thea.
Thea is completely the conscious of the entire book.
Yeah.
And he's a single father, a widow, and she is not biologically his child. Mm-hmm. We keep on going back and forth between sports and the world.
You've got a lot in there, yeah.
There's a big part of me that just wanted to blame everything on sports, everything that's wrong. So, he had his late wife had a one-off affair with a black athlete during the 92 Olympics in Barcelona. he took her along, and she ended up, pretty much on her own a lot of the time, and she had this one-off affair, didn't even know the guy's name or anything, and, so they had this child was born, and it was immediately obvious that this was not his child.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he fell instantly in love with this child, and ended up raising her himself. And she's everything to him. She's like the whole conscience of his life, conscience of his life. And so I love her character. She's really funny. She's
fabulous. Yeah.
You find out that sometimes you realize that, especially with daughters, they're so much smarter than you are. And,
wow.
She is gradually, I think, throughout the novel, it almost switches around as far as who's the parent and who's the child. That's a big part of the ending.
I love their relationship. I love the conversation, the field she goes into, like just the reverence she has for her father, the respect they have for each other. It's just such a heartwarming balance to some of the funny banter, and it's just it's very beautiful to read, and so it's part of the novel that really is
well, thanks. I mean,
balanced well against all of the stuff. I love, you're welcome, that way that you say you want to blame everything on sports. And I love the line in here about, just like Arnie's going through all this stuff and just these escapades, but in between, like, people want to know, like, his predictions, or they're asking other questions. And being in New England, I love the put your money on the Patriots winning the dullest game ever. I love that.
That was another one of the absurdist qualities of the book, where, it all takes place in the summer of 2018. So he's always asked questions about what's going to happen in sports, and he nails absolutely every one. He's right every single time on the button,
So awesome. Have you heard from the sports community on this? I mean, there's all different communities represented, but what are you hearing from?
We haven't, really, gotten the book out to tons of sports people yet, but that's starting to happen. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be a guest on ESPN.
You never know. Who knows?
Because I just kind of ripped them all over the place, but
yeah, a little bit. But you got to have humor. Like people have just lost their. I mean, they want to laugh, but I think people just don't know where they're allowed to laugh anymore. And I just think
I don't think they want to laugh. I think they want to be offended. I think they just want to stay home and be offended.
Just sort of die on that sword, the offensive. They just want to.
There's some people are so happy that it's like they're almost sitting and waiting at home. Surfing the web, hoping that something will offend them.
Exactly, and you don't have to wait too long. And I think that the window, just the amount of what it will take for somebody to be offended, and also just sort of when you're in I don't know if you found this, when a group of people, and I hear something people look around to see how they're supposed to react. Almost, it's just a bizarre time.
We are in a bizarre time.
It is. No who's the puppy? That's your puppy.
Yeah, that's Ike.
Ike. I know, I like seeing him on Facebook. And I'm speaking with Peter Mehlman, the author of #MeAsWell. It is hilarious. Oh, I love the... I'm not going to give out all the lines. It's just so funny, and it's relevant, really stops to make you think, and it's such a great story. And I'm so excited that I nudged you so much that we got this down. And I wanted to know, are you coming to the East Coast? Or I know you said, much to your editor's dismay, or something you were. I forgot what you wrote, but I was like, I think that's a no.
No, I probably will. I'm sure that I will come over to come east. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna, go to Washington, where the book takes place.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So I just have got to meet you, and you still have the accent. You're still welcome back. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I've been trying to get rid of the accent.
It doesn't work. It's just so...
It's so funny, like I call friends in New York and at their office, and I hear their assistants pick up the phone, and it's like the New York accent actually, it really like sends spikes through my nervous system.
Well, there are different accents. There are like different levels, because I sometimes think I'm hearing it, and then other times I'm like, no, there it is. But I guess I still hear it when I'm listening to you. So, but it's with an LA twist. I love talk about Arnie's friend
Jillian.
Yes, he's such an evolved guy. How can they be picking on him? I just don't get it. So
his best friend is his college roommate, who was named Jerry and is now Jillian. He transitioned to a woman in his 50s, and she is a prosecutor in Montgomery County, and she's his best friend, and I don't exactly know how that came about.
That was my next question. Where'd that come from?
I don't know. There's certain things where you're just going, and the story kind of takes over on its own.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything conscious that I wanted to have a transgender person in the book, but I don't know. It's very possible that I just had one really great joke lying around, and I said, "Hey, take a transgender."
Well, I love their relationship and the way that they communicate, and also the way when the story first hits and people are leaving messages and sending emails, there's what they're saying, and then there's the subtext of what they're saying, and the women are sort of careful not to, I guess give them a break, but still let them know, I'm thinking of you, but like very careful about what they're putting in print. And I feel like that's something else too, of like what's off the record, what's on the record, what you can say. And also in all that reporting, does it get confusing? Like, do people sometimes just forget, oh wait, that was off the record, wasn't supposed to say that?
Well, that's always very tricky.
Yeah.
That's a real tricky part of journalism. What I was trying to do, and what that arose out of, was I wanted to really explore what's going on with a person who's in the middle of one of these storms.
Yeah.
A person who's in the middle and the target of a Me Too storm, what's going through their minds? Arnie is thinking, like, are women for the rest of my life going to stare at me like I'm some kind of perv?
Exactly.
Or all of a sudden he's very aware of the subtext of what people are saying to him.
Mm-hmm.
He really, he gets all these kind of supportive emails from friends, and some are men and some are women, but he notices the difference between the ones the men send him and the one the women sent him. The women sent him one that says, that are basically like, I hope you're okay.
Right.
They're not expressing any judgment on what he did, while some of the men are saying, I don't know, I thought it was really funny.
Exactly. Yeah, and that you do wonder, like, when something happens in the media, how people react and send messages of support, because that is a tricky thing. Like, you're a good person, I just don't like what you did, or you're a reprehensible human being, I'm not going to even address that. But Arnie wonders, like, forever and he's checking, and it's already in Wikipedia, and he's just at Wikipedia. It's already in there, right?
I don't know who these people are on Wikipedia who put stuff in so fast, but it's like mind-blowing to me.
I know. It didn't even happen. They right, and it's just there right away. It's bizarre.
2 seconds, somebody has gone, oh my God, I got to update his page.
Wait a minute, they have me as dead. That's even worse. I love the idea also of the timing, which we think about all the time. Like, I notice we'll watch a game and there's, 5 seconds left.
Yeah.
And I hear my husband saying, no, they can still turn around. They're going to throw Hail Mary or whatever. And I'm like, the game's over. But, like, I know it's not over. And then in the book, you talk about life around sports warps all sense of time. 2-hour baseball games are lightning fast. 2 seconds of the NBA is plenty of time. And I was just, there were so many things in this book where I was just nodding along. And, it's entertaining. And, like, that whole element of timing in sports, talk about that a little bit, because that is...
Yeah, it's like when you're watching sports, you're in a different dimension. I mean, baseball games, I was watching some of the, baseball playoffs, and it's almost like every pitch, it has to be, like, decided on by a board of directors. It just takes forever. And, in football, God forbid the coach calls one timeout and leaves himself with only 2. The reporters are going to grill him. What was your thinking in that timeout that you called in the third quarter? I mean, he's just made this horrible, like, time is so of the essence. I don't know. It's just crazy.
It's so true, and I love. And then again, I'm talking to Peter Mehlman. We're talking about his brand new book, Me As Well. # Me As Well. 50 Minutes would be a good name for a sitcom about a therapist. I should call CP.
Yeah.
I love that. There's like every other sentence is just a pearl. I love your writing and your sense of humor and the way you've tied all of these topics together in such a treat of a novel.
I was always thinking, I did a lot of thinking about, and it's in the book a lot, about, can Louis C.K. go out to breakfast now?
I don't know, right? Can it? Yeah.
Can Matt Lauer, meet his daughter for lunch? I mean, what is his daughter? Is she in disguise?
And there were so many stories. It was like one after the other. I mean, I know that this is nothing new in history, but just the way the stories kept breaking and everybody keeps coming forward, and you do wonder. And is it the next story, or do people forget? Do you think people forget?
A friend of mine saw Harvey Weinstein in a Pavilion supermarket in L.A. Mm-hmm. Pavilions is kind of like the real kind of middle-brow supermarket.
Oh, is that the name of a supermarket?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like the shopping pavilion, maybe, in L.A.
No, the wealthy people in this town would never go to Pavilions or
they go to Whole Foods.
They go to, Gelson's or Whole Foods or this new place called Erewhon. But, now Harvey Weinstein's life has changed to the point where, I need, whatever I need, for him, probably, 48-ounce steak. But I need to get it at Pavilions because, there I won't be recognized. I won't see anybody I know.
Right, but you'll be recognized. He just may not see anybody he knows, but he was recognized. That's very interesting.
He was recognized by my friends, but I can assure you that he wasn't recognized by by the cashier.
Right. Just another schlub shopping for meat. Like that.
That it's just amazing. It's just fascinating to me what happens to the everyday life.
Just every interaction, your normal routine, or doing anything. And I remember the morning that Matt Lauer story broke on Today's Show, and you hear that like special reporting noise, and then you're like, wait, it's their own? What? I remember we were like riveted to that. They still keep reporting, I guess, on whatever's new about the story. But can he go out with his daughter? And what did they? I wonder what happens to that.
I mean, just the day-to-day life of what happens. I just wanted it all to happen. In the dead of summer, last summer, in 2018, when things were, really steaming along with allegations, and there's also a moment in there where Arnie bumps into Les Moonves, who's in Washington.
Yeah.
And this was before all the revelations about Les Moonves came out. So, the reader knows what's in store for Les Moonves, and I guess the way Les Moonves knows what's in store for him, but Arnie doesn't know.
Exactly.
And, he's just saying things that are just so like, oh, my God, don't say that to him.
Well, he's such a lovable character, and that's the thing, too. Right, in 2019, we know what happened there, but, yeah, because, you just never know. I mean, I have a feeling some of the stuff in this book, the Sub-Zero joke, I could see, that's pretty funny. He's talking about, if he needs the money, renting it out or whatever. That could be the new nap pod for all you know. So seeing people's Sub-Zeros littering the streets where you could just, take a nap or something. What else could you fit in there? I love this book, and I'm so excited to share it with the Reading with Robin audience, and hope that you'll come. Well, any chance we'll get you up north where the Patriots will no doubt keep winning and playing dull games?
It's possible. It's possible. I love Boston.
Well, I think I've nudged you enough to tell you, well, we're not far from Boston, and we do our series third Tuesdays, and if it works out and you're here, we would love you to take our stage. We have a packed house every third Tuesday in Providence. Having Peter Mehlman grace the stage would be quite a treat. So,
you know what? Keep nudging me about that.
I will keep it. Okay, so I was just granted the permission to the nudge.
I would definitely like to do that. Maybe
That's
if
awesome.
When I go to New York, maybe I could just zip up there.
You zip up there. You
train
just zip
or
there.
what?
Or zip.
What?
You train. Uber, train, bus. Yeah, we're 2.5 hours from the city to Providence, and we're another hour from Boston. So there's that. And it's really easy. We'll come get you. We'll take you around Providence. We'll just laugh at all of your funny lines.
So you can't fly from New York to Providence.
You can. You certainly can. But, my theory on that, because it's been done, but to me, by the time you get to the airport, get there early enough, park your car, go through the security, all that, wait for the plane, get on the plane, get off the plane, you might as well drive. That's my feeling. But, so we do it often. We do it often. From Providence to Manhattan in no traffic, it's 2 hours and 43 minutes, about, to the
and
Upper
with
West
traffic,
Side.
it's about 233 days.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely. 40 days and 40 nights. Yeah. Oh, it could be anything. I mean, there's that. But,
maybe I'd fly from Washington.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know when you're going to Washington, but if you can work us in, yeah. It's a really lovely trip up the Northeast Corridor, and it is such an awesome audience. We have stage, sound. It's really, it's kind of like the Moth. People, the authors come up and they talk about the book, talk about whatever. We would have something very special in store if you were to grace our stage. So just let us know, and I will keep nudging, because that is one of my superpowers.
It's a good superpower.
Thank you, Peter.
Actually, that would be a really good. Good summer movie. A superhero movie where the power is nudging.
Well, I noticed in the book too. Arnie thinks, "What's the deal with Seth Rogen?" Because he'd be someone I might think of as having that superpower. But Arnie's not a fan. He doesn't get what the deal is with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I mean, I know he does some good stuff, but that was purely me. I don't totally get it, and it's kind of depressing because I used to be on the cutting edge of comedy, and now I'm like an obsolete demographic.
Oh, we're the most important demographic, because I'm right there. So I would argue that it is the most important demographic. And I think the millennials, there are a lot of great millennial jokes in this book also, because, of course, Thea is keeping that age range alive. Wait, I literally underlined everything in this book. It's I can't, except for I can't read what I wrote, but it was very funny about the millennials.
Yeah, I basically have nothing left. I have to refill all my notebooks now.
Do you save your notebooks? Is that what you write?
Oh God, I have a notebook that when I was working for ABC Sports, we did a story about an ex-NBA player who was at Harvard Law School. So while I bought a notebook from Harvard Law School And I've been keeping my notes in there since 1984.
I love that. That's awesome. That is really...
It's all written down in these tiny, tiny print, like it really looks like the ravings of a lunatic.
I love it. And can you always read your writing? Or do you ever write something and go like, or like, it's,
most of the time.
Okay, yeah.
Most of the time. I mean, I for it to get into that book, I usually try to write it so I could read it, like even from a distance.
So you're aware when you're writing it. Yeah, I didn't know if you ever write in shorthand and then you figure, of course I'm going to know what I wrote, and then you don't. Wait, so if you come back up here, I will get you a new notebook. Do you need a new one? So if it's 84, is it like time for a new Harvard Law School notebook?
I can never get enough notebooks.
Okay, deal. If you come here, I will have notebooks. I mean, we do have Brown University. It's not Harvard, but
yes. Well, it's a fine school. It's a fine school.
It is a fine school, isn't it?
RISD right down the street.
Exactly, and that's a lot of the crowd that we get at the event. So we have like amazing readers, book clubbish people, readers, and like the Providence, and people that come actually down from Boston and New Hampshire. We get people in from Connecticut. It's got quite a reputation, Peter. Listen to you selling / nudging. Yeah, no, it's good. And Brown University sells books for us. And we sell a lot of books. Oh, and that's another thing you mentioned, that it is very inexpensive. Crazy inexpensive, you say.
Crazy inexpensive.
It's not an angle a lot of people use to sell a book, so I think that's really, it stands out. It's crazy inexpensive.
Yeah, well, you got to stand out from the crowd somehow. I was kind of emailing Bob Iger, who's got his new book out, and saying, I don't think there's any need for us to have, any tension between us. My book is fiction, your book is autobiography, so let's not get into this.
And did he agree?
He was at ABC. He was at ABC. Bob was at ABC Sports when I was there in the early '80s, so I've known him for a long time. So
you guys agreed to split the audience, and he was a mensch about it?
Yes, I should give him some grief for not mentioning my book to Oprah.
Oh, Oprah, the elusive Oprah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, she's got her agenda. I just realized that I have to go pick up my puppy from Play Care.
Fantastic. I have to I have to do a test run of my, of that thing of my Skype for somebody. So. Oh,
you're Skyping? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No, you know what? I could just get lost in this conversation. I so enjoy talking to you and look forward to meeting you with notebooks. And I'm going to get my puppy, and it's Peter Mehlman, me as well. Find him on Twitter, on Facebook, and coming soon to a stage in Providence, The Nudge will bring Peter Mehlman to Rhode Island. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you, Robin. Take care.
You're so welcome. Take care. Good luck with the Skype. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's installment of the Reading with Robin podcast. As always, our full-length podcasts will be available right here on robincall.com. We appreciate your support and look forward to having you over next week when we chat with our next featured guest. Have a great week and happy reading.